she introduced Juice Plus to me. And when we were having the conversation about it, I'm like, this just makes sense. Fruits and vegetables in a capsule. I know that when I sit down at the end of the day, at the end of the week, I am not getting in my fruits and veggies anywhere near the daily serving size. And even in the best growing seasons, I really struggle to get those full servings in. So we talked about it, and I said, you know what, I'm in, and I'm jumping in 2 feet wide open, and I'm going to jump in on the business side of things and partner with her to get on to this fun adventure. So I've been with Carrie almost a year. Some of the benefits I've seen are I'm craving more water. I actually crave more fruits and vegetables in my diet. I had a excellent dental report with my gums. I was sleeping better. The stress of COVID and going back to school, coaching has kind of deterred that a little bit, but I still know that the omegas and the Juice Plus are helping me get quality sleep, even if it's not for as long as I was sleeping. So I am really looking forward to my annual exam coming up in December to see what my numbers are with my blood test. And I'm sold on the product. I love the benefits and the life. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Carrie or I. We would be glad to get back to you with more information about Juice Plus.
All right, thank you. Thank you for sharing that and for stepping in at the last minute and doing that. So as we continue here, again, I just want to say thank you. I'm excited to have all of you here. We're going to get some powerful information here, and we're going to do it where we do speaker presentation as we go. So let's tune in. We're going to hear from a woman named Michaela Peterson, and she is a pharmacist and a mother. And so she's going to start us off with just some basic information. And so I'm going to share my screen with you. And I think I am.
One thing that I love that I get to do is offer solutions on a daily basis. I think there are enough problems in this world. We need solutions. Did you know that only 1 in 10 Americans eat enough fruits and vegetables? That means 9 out of 10 Americans don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. And with the rate that 75% of disease is preventable, we have simple solutions that can make this easier. So the average American needs to eat 7 to 13 fist-sized servings of fruits and veg on a daily basis. Not many do that. I rarely meet someone who does that. My take on this whole fruits and vegetables thing before I found these simple solutions was if they could only fit all of this into a capsule, right? And we needed a bridge. We needed to bridge the gap because we were not perfect. I loved a Pepsi a day. My family didn't eat perfect, and we needed that bridge, which is the first solution that we're going to talk about between what you probably eat, but what you should eat. Did you know that raw beets are a natural antidepressant? Did you know that kale has 50% more calcium than milk? Did you know that pineapple is your best anti-inflammatory in regards to fruit? And guess what? Pineapple has 500% more bromelain than any over-the-counter or prescription cough syrup, and that is the enzyme that helps you to quit coughing. Eating a half a cup of spinach a day cuts macular degeneration risk by 43% and lowers cholesterol. And oranges are high in vitamin C and have every known class of cancer inhibitor, which I'll talk about in a little bit. That is near and dear to my heart. If you eat 6 servings of fruits and vegetables daily, you cut stroke rate by 44%. Eating 9 servings of fruits and vegetables daily cuts stroke risk by 66%. What is neat is that each of these fun facts, each of the produce, the fruit or veg contained on these fun facts is in our first solution, which is Juice Plus. So I was one of those people that I thought we ate healthy. When the pharmacist that I went to college with and played volleyball with introduced me to Juice Plus, I was instantly intrigued. I thought we ate healthy, but there is no way that we ate cherry, apple, beet, peach, pineapple, lemon peel, cranberry, date, orange, mango, prune, broccoli, cabbage, parsley, carrot, garlic, kale, spinach, tomato, artichoke, bilberry, blackberry, blackcurrant, cranberry, elderberry, blueberry, cocoa, Concord grape, pomegranate, and raspberry on a weekly basis, let alone a daily basis. And I for sure would not have gotten my kids to eat a full tote of produce. So this instantly made sense to us. I became a partner right away with the company because I wanted the best price. And I couldn't pick my favorite child to put on the Healthy Starts for Families study. And so I became a rep, but I did not want to share it with a soul. And it really wasn't until 5 weeks into our journey, my energy was better, our cravings were better. I had a 4-year-old at the time that struggled with focus, and her mental clarity was improved to the point that she was asking us to read her book after book. And in 6 years now, we have only had a handful of sick visits to the doctor. So our health improved a lot. And 5 weeks in, though, I really dove into the research, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And I messaged a mom of a kiddo with cancer, and her message back to me is why I'm in front of you today. And that was, how long have you known about this, and why wouldn't you have told me sooner? And I realized then and there that as a pharmacist, I took an oath to do no harm. And by not sharing this, I absolutely was doing harm. Our next solution.
Okay, I'm just going to stop it there. And when I think about and I hear those things, 1 out of 10 people aren't getting enough fruits and vegetables. And I think about the size of a fist. It doesn't matter if you're a 2-year-old, if you're, a grown man or whatever it is, the size of your fist is the size of serving. You're supposed to have 7 to 13 of those a day. And I think, well, that's not happening for me without my Juice Plus. For those of you who don't know, the Juice Plus is actually in powders in capsules. And so you're going to see the capsules, and I've also got the Omega here, and we'll talk about that later. But that's what it is fruits and vegetables and berries in a powder form in capsules. So I am a nut for those little facts and things, so I love the did you know? And so just thinking about eating 1 carrot a day, and for women, it drops your chance of a stroke by 68%. And so having those things in our capsules is so important. So at this time, I am going to introduce my mother, and she's going to share with you. So my mom is Kay. Mom, go ahead.
As she said, I'm Carrie's mom, and I'm 78 years old, which to me is okay. It's kind of frightening some days, but as I got up in age, 2 years ago, I had uterine cancer. And then a little over a year ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3 kidney failure and prediabetes. And I knew that there was no way I was eating the way I should. Even though my husband and I were eating well, we were no way eating as many servings of fruits and veggies as I can get with Juice Plus. And at first, I didn't want to go on. Not that I didn't want to, but I was taking vitamins and I thought, oh, that'll be fine. And then when they said that if I went to stage 4, I would have to have dialysis, and I could be in full-blown diabetes, I decided that it was time to take care of myself. And so I went with Juice Plus, And it took a little bit of time, but soon I had so much more energy. I used to get up in the morning and 2 hours later, I wanted to sit down and read a book, or I wanted to go back to bed. And now I go all day. And my general health is so much better. When I had my blood drawn for my last checkup, my numbers were really good. My kidney function had actually gone up, which is almost unheard of, he told me. And my blood pressure and everything was so much better. And I'm trying to get off of my meds. For me, it's not how long I live, but the quality of my life. And I don't want to be one of these people that I see that can hardly walk and hardly do anything. As Carrie knows, we're busy all the time. Seldom a day goes by that we aren't like the Energizer Bunny. And so I just think this has made a huge difference in my life. And now my husband's taking them, and I'm hoping that he will be saying soon that it has made a huge difference in his. And I also like the fact, especially with the times like they are, that they're delivered to our home. We don't have to worry about running out. We don't have to worry about going to the store and buying anything. They're always there when we need them. But it has made a huge, huge difference in my life.
Thanks, Mom. That's
Mhm.
the first time I've heard her story and first time she's had a chance to share. And so I appreciate you doing that. And yes, it is the quality of life, but it's also the years that we want you around for a long time. So thank you for sharing. I love that. And so we are going to lead into a segment on omegas. And so I am going to share my screen again with you. And here.
I think we need to preface it with why we need good fats. So the skinny on fats. The brain is 60% fat. The good fats, the omegas, if you will, are the building blocks for hormones and cholesterol. They fight inflammation and heart disease. They help brain health, skin health. They're an overall lubricant, both, personal, eye lubricant, whatever it is. If you don't have the right omegas, we aren't going to absorb the solutions that we previously talked about. So those fat-soluble vitamins are vitamins A, D, E, and K, and we need good fats to help absorb those. And we also know that good fats help improve the immune system. So what are some signs of omega deficiency? 98% of Americans are deficient in omegas unless you eat 5 servings of wild-caught fish every week. So I know this is a lot of us. So things that you can watch for in the omega deficiency realm are depression, arthritis, weight gain, brain fog, heart disease, skin issues, memory loss, or maybe you just feel like you're in that brain fog, eyesight issues, dry eyes and skin, and fatigue. So let's talk about our last solution now, which is plant-based omegas. We know that omegas, as we just talked about, support heart, brain, joint, skin, and eyes. And as a pharmacist, I always knew that omegas were good for you. However, I didn't consume any because I didn't want the fishy Bert. And I could not find an omega that was not heated to a high temperature. And we know what happens when you heat oil, right? The oil degrades and becomes rancid, but the toxicity, the heavy metals, all of that that's inside the omega capsule or soft gel or whatever it is not degraded. So you're still getting the gunk, if you will. So we offer the last solution, which is 100% plant-based, pure and sustainable, full spectrum omegas, cold pressed, so it's never heated, and it's vegan. So as you can see, It's a wide variety of omegas. So why do we need the concert blend? Why this brilliant concept of sea buckthorn berry and tomato seed oil and pomegranate oil and raspberry oil? Why the array there? First of all, omega-3 helps with depression, skin, eyes, and brain health. And most of the omegas that are on the market are omega-3 only. But omega-5 helps balance the weight, cardiovascular health, blood sugar, reduces menopause symptoms. Omega-6 helps nerve pain, cardiovascular, and bone health. Omega-7s promote bowel regularity and weight loss. And finally, omega-9 has great cardiovascular benefits, including healthy cholesterol, improved immune function, more energy, better mood, and better blood sugar levels. So what I love about Juice Plus is that we are unique. There is nothing on the market with or without a prescription that compares to Juice Plus. And that really is because of three main things. Number one, it's food. It is not a vitamin. It has a food label, no additives. It's made with non-GMO ingredients, all the buzzwords there. Number two, and I would encourage you, no matter what you take, to make sure that what you're putting into your body is NSF certified. NSF certification is a third-party certification that is really expensive, but the quality products are going to have it. So number one, what's on the label is exactly what's in it. Number two, there's nothing additional in it. So no heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, molds, fungus, whatever you can think of, nothing else is in it. And number three, it does no harm. And so this certification is the reason that the U.S. Olympic volleyball team can take Juice Plus without any question of, urine test or anything like that. They know that what they're putting into their body is pure and they will never be compromised because of Juice Plus. And number three, it's the most thoroughly researched brand name product in the world with over 35 peer-reviewed published clinical studies. The Omega research just came out, and we found that the Juice Plus Omegas do twice the amount in half the time as competitors, which is amazing. So we're going to dive a
All right. So I am just going to, there we go. I am just going to say that I love the omegas, the idea that they've got more of an orangey taste, if there is any taste. It's just not the omega-3 that we're used to. It's such a broad spectrum and covers so many different areas besides just what omega-3 typically does. And so at this time, I'm going to hand it over to probably my first and earliest person who stepped up and really has been a blessing to have on my team, a friend, and a raving fan. So Margaret, at this time, would you unmute yourself and share with us, please? I can do it otherwise.
There we go. I got it. Google Meets, yes. Zoom, no. Well, thank you very much, Carrie. And my journey with Juice Plus began a little over a year ago, Carrie. I had met with Carrie at school because I was going through one of those, I just turned 60 now. What am I going to do? I'm a widow. My kids are grown up. What am I going to do to take care of myself? And I wasn't happy being on a lot of the medications and just not feeling good about what I was doing to take care of myself. So I started it because I wanted to just improve my overall health. That was my number one reason. But with winter coming, and I still teach, I teach in a school, so I wanted to avoid the second week of school cold. And every time I get a cold, it would turn into bronchitis. And I was tired of being tired all the time and go to the doctor for antibiotics. I lost my spleen a few years ago, so my immune system is compromised to begin with. So I started taking it, and I had other health issues too. I observed that, let's see, I had to write it down because I'm just so bad at my memory and trying to remember. I get nervous. So with winter coming, I just didn't want the cold. So when I was learning about it with Carrie, I learned that it was a fantastic food. I think that's the one thing that hit me right away, is it was a food. I live in Breed, Wisconsin, and I couldn't even get all 30 of those vegetables, nor would I ever eat that much. And I wasn't a big veggie or fruit fan to begin with. So I thought, well, since I can't get it at the store, this seems to be a smart move for me. So within a few months of taking it, I had a big surprise. I had suffered from skin eczema, and I went down to put my steroid cream on, and it was gone. The eczema was completely healed. It was completely gone. I had to actually go looking for the other patches, and they were gone also. And since then, now in a year, the skin has actually returned to be perfectly normal. So that got me really excited. I was so impressed. It helped me reassure myself that I'm helping myself stay healthy. This is true. And I went to see my hematologist a couple weeks ago. And the nurse was asking me, well, when was the last time you were sick? And I said, I have not had a cold in a year, not one single cold. And she actually asked me what I was doing, and I told her about Juice Plus, and I was like, oh, why don't I have cards with me? Because, so she actually wrote it down, and I was just, she was very excited to hear about that. But again, my numbers are doing so well. The doctor was actually impressed, and I'm looking forward to going back in a couple months and having him look at my blood and say, wow, you're really doing well. So my overall health has improved. I take the Trio every day without fail, because I say to myself, this is what I do for me. This is my insurance policy. This is what I'm paying myself. And I never forget. I just added the Omega because I'm incredibly frugal and had a huge jar of omega-3s to finish. And so I was really glad to be done with them. And I love the Omegas, by the way, Carrie. It is, I don't even notice a taste with them at all, to be honest. So I can't wait to see what it's going to do for my health too. So I like knowing that it's made here in the US. I like knowing that there's no additional vitamins, or that it's not a vitamin, that there aren't chemicals in there. I like knowing that the harvest to getting into that capsule time is small, that, you're not, you think about what you buy on the shelf that's been sitting in a truck for a long time. So, and it has the freshest ingredients. I was impressed to look at the label, and you look at the label and it says contents, and there's nothing else in there but those fruits and vegetables. So Juice Plus is the one thing that I do for me. And I had a hard time financially saying, okay, how can I afford this? Well, every morning, because I was lazy on the way to school, I would stop and buy a coffee and a breakfast sandwich and eat that on the way. And I said, well, if I give those two things up, I can afford it, because it's costing that amount of money. And I did, and I have never looked back at it. And one of the side effects is I actually cook and eat a lot more fruits and vegetables than I have before. Not that I'm totally gone vegan, because I like my steak. But I just don't miss some of those things. I'm just so thankful. I'm thankful, Carrie, that you came into my life at that time, and that your energy towards Juice Plus is really, it's inspiring. So thank you again.
Thank you, Margaret. That was wonderful. I just love hearing everybody's story, and everybody's is just a little bit different. And so thank you for sharing that. We're going to jump into the research, and people are like, ugh, research. Some people are like, yeah, research, bring it on. So wherever you are, I really like this. And they're going to go through 5 of the researches, and we're going to have to cut this short a little bit. I see we got 10 minutes. And what I really like is the Maryland one, because everyone grabs fast food once in a while. And so I'm going to share my screen again, and I am going to go ahead and jump into this and have you listened to some of the research?
We now have more than 40 individual Juice Plus clinical studies conducted by researchers at leading hospitals and universities all over the world. You can see the list of names, and it is definitely an impressive body. So what does the research show? And I want you to be thinking, as we're talking about the research, I want you to even make a list of who do you know that needs improvement in these systems. So first, we know that Juice Plus improves cardiovascular wellness. We know that it supports the immune system. We know that it improves gum tissue, and the gums are kind of the gateway to the whole body. So I love that we can reduce pocket depth and different things like that. We know that Juice Plus reduces oxidative stress, reduces inflammation, and inflammation, in my opinion, is the root of all disease. We know that it protects DNA and promotes healthier skin. And we're going to dive into some of these just a little bit deeper. So the first one is the microvascular circulation study. Now I'm going to tell you the details. You don't have to memorize this. The microvascular circulation study was a 12-week study, and it improved that blood flow was increased by 39%. That is crazy impressive. Hydration is increased by 9%, skin thickness is increased by 6%, skin density is increased by 16%. And if you think about this, organs with high microvasculature are the skin, kidneys, eyes, nerves, and erectile dysfunction is a product of this in men. So now I want you to think about all of those people in your life that need an increase in blood flow by 39%, right? Especially in those microvasculature areas. You think of people with neuropathy, maybe it's a post-chemo neuropathy. You think of diabetics. You think of estheticians that, you know, for a living, people are going to them, getting facials and, you know, paying big money for skin density to increase and skin thickness to increase and hydration to increase, right? I mean, you could make a long list right now of just thinking of those people that in your life really do need those things. The second study that I love is the Maryland study. And this was the fast food study created because a group of physicians approached Juice Plus and asked them to study, you know, the majority of heart attacks happen after a high-fat meal. So they asked them to study this. So a group of participants was brought into the lab. They tested their blood pressure, fed them all the same McDonald's breakfast, which makes me so sad because I used to love McDonald's burritos, especially in pharmacy school. Tested their blood pressure, or fed them the high-fat meal, then tested their blood pressure again. And what they found was a vasoconstriction of almost 50% that lasted 4 hours. So they sent 3 groups home, a fruit and vegetable group, a fruit, veggie, and berry group, and a placebo group. Brought them back in 28 days, did the same thing, blood pressure, high-fat meal, blood pressure, and then read the blood work. So the fruit and the vegetable group showed a 62% reduction in the vasoconstriction. The placebo group was the same, which is what we would have predicted. And the fruit, vegetable, and berry group showed less than 2% vasoconstriction. So that's the key takeaway that you should remember from this slide. The trio, what we call it, showed less than 2% vasoconstriction. So it was as if they had not even eaten that high-fat meal, which is the reason that everyone, in my opinion, that gets on Juice Plus also needs the berries. When heart disease is what it is, you know, for me, that was huge. I have heart disease and stroke in my family history. I wanted to be able to go to bed at night knowing that I did what I needed to do for my kids that day, even if we weren't perfect and ran through a drive-through, right? Because prevention is huge. And when we know better, we do better. So most people that we get on the Healthy Starts for Families also get on the berries because of this study. So very impressive. The next study that I want to talk about, the third study, I guess, out of 4 is the immune studies. Now, there are 4 published peer-reviewed clinical studies at 4 different institutions on 4 different types of subjects: healthcare professionals, athletes, law students, and older individuals that were 60 to 86 years old. All 4 studies showed benefits to the immune system by adding Juice Plus. And I'm going to focus on the 80-day study. We know that the immune system is comprised of these little guys on that slide there, the colorful little blobs. And we know that autoimmune issues are oftentimes caused because the B cells and the T cells are like the sergeants, the B cells are the soldiers, and they need to be in a certain ratio. And what happens in an autoimmune condition is that that ratio is completely out of whack. And so our bodies are like a kindergarten classroom without any teachers. And that's where we get the autoimmune. So it really doesn't matter what autoimmune you have or your loved one has or somebody that you know and love has. It's about getting that ratio back into balance. So at just 80 days, Juice Plus did bring that B cell T cell ratio back into balance. But also, just as impressive is we have these cells in our body that are like Pac-Men that roam around our system and eat irregularly growing cells. Those cells are called natural killer cells. They're in the yellow there. And
All right, I'm going to cut that short, and I am going to say that the other one is about the healthy starts, and it goes on to show how it benefits the kids. And kids eat free pretty much. When an adult order is placed, a child 4 to 18 years old or undergraduate gets free gummies or chewables. And so I'm going to just bring Catherine on real quick, our last speaker of the night. Catherine, if you want to unmute yourself, please, and share with us.
Sure. I'll try to keep it brief so we don't get cut off, but I am my father's daughter, so I do like to talk and tend to go on and on sometimes. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Catherine, and I am Carrie, my mom's youngest daughter. And just to follow up on what my grandma was sharing, and actually speaking of prevention, I'm in the bit of an opposite position, which is why I'm here to share with you guys just a little bit about myself and my overall experience with health, my health journey. And it might not relate directly to you, but if there's a person that you immediately think of, just keep them in mind. I've been an athlete my whole life, and I basically grew up with a basketball in my hand and a desire to never stop moving. I actually continued athletics throughout college and have been blessed with a body that's allowed me to actually continue moving it every day. And since I've been brought into this world, I've continued to work out and move. And I think there was a time that I felt burnt out and didn't take the best care of myself. I developed gut issues at a really young age and never really addressed them throughout my young adulthood. And I think that it continued after college. It never occurred to me that I could at least try to control it, which is when I snapped into just like a full-blown sponge to anything and everything, fitness and health. And speaking of that, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree with my mom here, as she's done this with education throughout health her entire career. But the last 2 years, I've really just tested out what works best for my body to function at its best. And I've realized I need the energy to serve others and a healthy gut to make it through the day without pain. And thinking about today, I'm 25 years old today, and although I'm not here to treat any serious illnesses or fix any serious health issues, I've been doing everything I can to prevent it. So just like I was saying, a little bit of the opposite of my grandma here, but that's the key for most of us who are healthy is prevention. I was actually introduced to Juice Plus over 2 years ago, and at first I was thinking, oh great, another supplement. And then a week later, I attended my first educational event and dug into the product, and I was just in awe. I kept wanting to know more and more and wondering why I wasn't aware of this before. And like Margaret actually mentioned, you can't even find half of those ingredients in some of our local grocery stores. And during the event, and even now, I think to myself, I wish that I could make this a career. And I see that we have less than a minute left. I just want to share a little bit more about my experience and how I started taking the fruits and veggies and berry blend, and then 3 months later started on omegas and our complete protein, which was the best decision I ever made. But just like she was saying in the video, I